All right, let's dive in. Today, we're exploring the core ideas from a really fascinating book called Right Use of Will by Ceanne DeRohan. And it puts forward a pretty radical idea. What if, for centuries, we've completely misunderstood a huge part of ourselves? And what if reclaiming it could literally change everything?
I mean, just think about that for a second. The book kicks off with this really powerful question. What if there's a fundamental part of you, this core energy, that you've been taught to just ignore or maybe even judge? And what if reconnecting with that is the real key to your health and vitality?
So this leads us to the central idea of the book, this concept of a forgotten inner power, one that exists right alongside our more commonly understood spiritual side.
So most of us are familiar with the idea of spirit, right? You hear about it in all sorts of spiritual paths. It's this energy of unconditional love, kind of a divine, you could say, masculine overview. It's a concept we get. But what if that's only half the picture?
And here is the other half, the will. Now, it's so important to get this. We're not talking about willpower. This isn't about gritting your teeth and forcing things to happen. The book defines the will as a divine energy all on its own. It's the voice of our feelings, our intuition, our deepest wants and desires. It's described as our feminine aspect, the part of us that feels and perceives reality directly.
So, if we have these two incredible divine energies inside of us, what's the problem? Well, the central argument of the book is that for centuries, we've been living in a state of, well, a profound imbalance. You can almost think of it like this. Spirit is the part of you that offers that big picture loving perspective. The will is the part that's right here in the moment, telling you what feels good, what feels possible, and what feels true for you right now. They're meant to be partners, perfectly balanced in the heart. But that partnership, it's been broken. The core idea here is that our will, our entire feeling nature, has been judged. We've called it weak or chaotic or maybe even sinful. So we've pushed it down. We've repressed it with a mindset that values logic and control way more than emotion and intuition.
So what happens when you take a fundamental part of your divine nature and just consistently deny it? Well, it doesn't just go away. It starts to show up as problems in our lives.
Let's really look at the fallout from this. When our feeling intuitive nature gets shoved aside for pure logic or what we're supposed to do, what does that actually look and feel like in our day-to-day lives?
And this inner imbalance is linked to some very, very real-world issues. Physical illnesses are seen as the body basically screaming that it can't hold these blockages anymore. Self-criticism becomes this constant, nagging inner voice. Destructive habits pop up as a way to numb or suppress all those uncomfortable feelings. And underneath it all, there's just this deep sense of being disconnected from ourselves, from our purpose.
This quote from the book just nails it, doesn't it? It suggests that every single imbalance, whether it's physical or emotional, it all starts from the same place, a refusal to lovingly accept some part of ourselves, and usually, that's a part connected to our will. Okay, so that's the problem, and that's what it looks like. But here's the good news. The book lays out a really clear path toward healing this and reclaiming this absolutely vital energy.
The whole journey back to balance kicks off with one huge mental shift. It's all about changing how we relate to our own experiences and our own feelings.
And this difference is so key. Judgment is rigid. It's like a brick wall. It just says this is bad and it shuts down any chance to learn. Discernment, though, that's totally different. It's flexible. It says, okay, that experience wasn't great, but it taught me something, and I can use that wisdom now. Learning to let go of that harsh judgment is the key that unlocks the door for our will to speak freely again.
This all leads to a pretty straightforward 4-step path to healing. First, you actively work on releasing those rigid judgments. From there, you start to practice inner listening, through meditation or just quiet time to actually hear what your feelings are trying to tell you. The next step is finding safe, healthy ways to express those emotions. And all of this builds toward that final, beautiful goal, unconditional self-acceptance. And at the end of the day, this isn't about becoming a better person. It's about becoming a whole person. It's about looking at the parts of yourself that you've pushed away for years, the anger, the desire, the sadness, and finally welcoming them back home with the unconditional love of your spirit.
So after all this inner work, what's the end game? What does life actually look like when these two powerful energies are finally working together as the partners they were always meant to be?
The destination of this whole journey is a state of real inner harmony. The heart becomes this meeting place, this center, where the loving overview of spirit
and the direct, honest perception of the will can finally merge. And that's what guides your actions, with both wisdom and true authenticity.
And the results of this harmony? They're pretty profound. The book says it leads to genuine health, where your body finally reflects your inner balance. It fosters authentic self-expression, where you just don't feel the need to hide parts of yourself anymore. And it creates this unified experience of life, totally free from that constant inner war that drains so much of our energy.
So we'll end with the question that this whole idea really leads to. If the right use of will is all about listening to every part of ourselves without judgment, what part of you has been judging that is simply waiting to be heard? What feeling, what desire, what quiet little whisper of intuition is just waiting for you to finally accept it? Thanks for exploring this with me.